Hi, I'm Dean with Old English Outfitters, and today we're going to talk about ZT and Kershaw knives, ZT standing for Zero Tolerance. A little bit about the history of the company, and even those of you who are not knife nuts will understand this. ZT and Kershaw, owned by KUSA, at one point in time were an absolute titan of the knife industry. Everyone who was willing to spend big money on a pocket knife would go with a ZT. And not a single person would turn their nose up at one of those knives. And every working man probably had a Kershaw in their pocket of some kind, or has at least owned one. They were the first company that really divided their line and hit either end of the spectrum. Very high-end, more expensive knives, and budget, affordable, good quality pocket knives. So they had the market cornered almost. And they were performing with the likes of Benchmade and Spyderco, big numbers. I would personally argue they were more popular because they did hit both sides of the market. If you have been in the store in the last couple of years, you might have noticed that we were not stocking ZT or Kershaw knives. And there is a reason for that. A lot of people moved away from this brand in the last 3 to 5 years. I would argue for good reason. ZT at one point in time was an excellent way to get a knife that was American made, that you knew was of good quality. You knew that the knife was heat treated properly, that it would lock up properly, that it would last 10, 12, 15 years. They had one of the best warranties in the game. Anything goes wrong with it, send it in. They will even replace the blade for a ridiculously low fee for what you are getting. So you can run this knife into the ground and then for about $50, get it 100% back serviceable and in the game. And Kershaw, like I said, every working man has owned a Kershaw knife. You could get a really good pocket knife that you knew would hold up and had a good warranty for not very much money. Designed by well-renowned custom knife makers. Ernest Emerson, Rick Hinderer, just to name a couple. Strider, Ken Onion, all of them had designs that were manufactured by Kershaw and ZT. So you were able to get not only a quality product, but a taste of a more expensive knife. Something that was designed by a custom knife maker that maybe you had always enjoyed their work or admired it, but never wanted to spend $300 or $400 on a pocket knife. Well, now you could get essentially that knife for way less money. You could get the features of that knife for way less money. And in some cases, it would be an improvement. They would have better steel than that custom knife maker would normally use. They would have a debatably better lock system than that custom knife maker would normally use. So you could get sometimes even an improved version of a custom knife. In the last couple of years, they kind of just stopped doing that. A lot of their very popular knives, they discontinued, either because the contracts with those custom knife makers ran out, or because they just wanted to change the direction of the line. And I think they went the wrong direction. A lot of ZT and Kershaw products were very thin and angular and technological looking, which is not why people bought ZT and Kershaw. They were an American brand through and through. And moving away from that, they lost a lot of their customer base. They lost us. We replaced them with a couple different knife manufacturers, not just for that reason alone, but also the quality on a lot of the overseas produced Kershaws went really downhill. Boring designs, not really the best looking anodization, poorly sharpened from the factory. The lock mechanism was not always appropriately assembled, so sometimes it would close without you wanting it to. All of those things made me hesitant about Kershaw and ZT. And as somebody who both understands that I am the outlier, as somebody who's crazy about knives, but still thinks that stuff is important. I don't think you need the best steel ever. I don't think you need a $300 pocket knife, but those things are objectively, factually improved over a $60 pocket knife. It just doesn't matter to most people. So if you start losing the quality control, if you start losing the designs, I'm kind of out. I would argue that in the last 2 years, ZT and Kershaw have righted the ship. Kershaw first. Their launch series was always an excellent American-produced automatic knife, but they have started bringing some of their manufacturing to the States. They have started coming out with excellent products like this Kershaw Bel Air. Very clearly a competitor to the Benchmade Bug Out, but I would argue a better knife in almost every way, and less expensive. In this configuration, you get an aluminum handle, the Benchmade style crossbar lock, which Kershaw is now allowed to use, and properly heat-treated MagnaCut steel. And I say properly heat-treated. You get a knife that is, in my opinion, objectively better than the Benchmade Bug Out. An aluminum handle, a Benchmade style crossbar lock, which Kershaw and many other companies are now allowed to use, an excellently ground, properly sharpened MagnaCut blade that is properly heat-treated. And that is important now. It's important in a way that it didn't used to be. We live in the age of information. So even the working man that it probably doesn't matter. Well, he now knows what Rockwell is. He now knows maybe that a harder knife is going to be a little bit better. A properly heat-treated knife that hits on average 60 on the HRC scale is going to perform far better than some knife that you don't know the hardness, that's made out of some random steel that's a combination of numbers and letters. People know that CPM steels are objectively better. They know that they are properly formed. There's a lot of metallurgy stuff and science that goes into making them perform well as a knife. So people appreciate that kind of thing now, and companies that tailor to that are going to do better. They just are, especially if they can deliver those knives at a cost that is not prohibitive to the average consumer. And this, the ZT-0512, this knife excited me in a way that most things will not excite an adult man. Actually seeing ZT come out with a knife that looks like a ZT, that's not some thin carbon fiber slip joint or some random pocket knife or a design that is a good design but that they've made since 2009. Something new, something that is properly made, that uses titanium and micarta and CPM crew wear, a properly ground blade that is thick enough to be durable but thin enough that it will still cut. ZT has not announced a new knife like that in some time. They also announced the 0512, which is a button lock manual, a very popular design nowadays, something that is very quick in and out of the pocket and comfortable to use. So as somebody who was once a big fan of these companies, I mean, my first good knife, my first expensive knife was a ZT. The knife that I have owned for the longest is a ZT. Kershaw Launch has always been a reliable and affordable American-made knife. Even when the company was not doing the best thing, they still had the Launch series, a way for you to get an American-made knife that was properly heat-treated for under $150, which not many companies can deliver. There's more nowadays than there used to be, but at one point in time, it was basically just the Kershaw Launch series. Kai USA did send us these for review, and I have been carrying and using both of these knives for a few weeks now, and they perform. I can tell you after sharpening this crew wear is hard. The advertised Rockwell is accurate. Same with the MagnaCut in this Bel Air. They perform well. The lockup is incredibly solid on the 0512. It's comfortable in hand. The pocket clip is effective, but not too big. It is just a good knife in the way that you used to be able to buy ZT blindly without ever holding it. You knew that you could buy a ZT offline, it would show up and it would be sharp, the lockup would be good, it would be comfortable in hand. You can buy this knife knowing that. Same with the Kershaw Bel Air. This is, in my eyes, better than a Benchmade Bug Out in every way. The lockup is even more solid on this crossbar style lock than the Benchmade lock, and that is a patent that Benchmade filed long ago. That is the Benchmade lock that other people are now allowed to use. The blade cuts better. It's out of better steel for less money than that Benchmade Bug Out. So, all that to say, I think that once again, you can buy ZT and Kershaw with 100% confidence. That makes me very happy. Not many companies are able to do that, or more importantly, willing to do that. Listen to their customers, listen to the complaints, and change what they are doing. And Kai USA has done that. Buy with confidence, and I am proud to say we are now, once again, a stocking ZT and Kershaw dealer. Guys, that is the end of the review. Thank you so much for watching and listening to me. If you like what you see, please like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. In addition, we are on all social media platforms at OE Outfitters. Please check it out, and if you like what you see, give us a follow. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.